Hi, I'm Beth Graves, and thank you for joining us on the Circus Arts Spotlight. Each week, we'll shine the spotlight on the people, programs, and events of the Circus Arts Conservatory. In addition to professional and student youth performances, we'll explore incredible outreach programs and learn how the circus arts impact so many aspects of life. For more information on today's topic, or anything circus arts related, please go to our website, circusarts.org. Now, let's get started. Today, we're interviewing Rikki, who has a very long last name. Rikki, you want to go ahead and say your last name first, please?
Hi, I'm Rikki Hettig-Rolfe Meaux.
And Rikki is a longtime person involved with Sailor Circus. She was previously a student, and now she works here full-time. So, Rikki, can you tell us how you got involved with Sailor Circus?
Yes, my mom's side of the family was in Sailor Circus growing up. My uncle actually going on to become a professional circus performer, and I very much loved watching his success in his career, and then also came to Sailor Circus as an audience member, and putting those two things together, my family saw my interest and then their background and put me in the program quite young, so I started as a student.
And so what was your uncle's act?
High wire.
High wire.
Mm-hmm.
And did he travel with any show?
He did, yeah, actually. So he was on Ringling, and he traveled with Walenda's. He was in the 7-person pyramid, and then he also went on to have his own quite successful act called the Fabulous Farrell Brothers, and they actually won the Silver Clown at Monte Carlo.
Oh.
Inspired me a whole lot. So yeah, my uncle walked wire and got actually plucked out of Sailor Circus. A talent scout was in the audience, and that's how he left high school, actually, to go run away with the circus big time.
That's really very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that many people that are listening are not familiar with what a silver clown is. So I know that the circus arts are very, very popular in Monaco, and they have a competition there every year. It's kind of like the Olympics of circus. And if I'm correct, there are different levels of awards, and the silver clown is, I think, the second best overall.
You're right. That's my knowledge of it too. Yeah.
So there you go, people.
Pretty cool, yeah.
And so you said you started Sailor Circus very young. How old were you?
I was in first grade, so I want to say I was either 6 or 7. 7, I think, because I'm older than most people in my grade. And I got lucky because my mom knew the director from having been in the program herself. And so I got kind of scooped up and brought into the program a little extra young, too. So first grade.
And do you remember what you did when you first joined?
Yes. So I did triple trap, and I did this side-by-side trapeze act with this guy named Ricky Campbell, so we were Ricky and Rikki, on the taught by Miss Butler, who still teaches here sometimes. But anyway, I did adagio, which is where two larger people swing a smaller person and throw them up into the air for flips and things like that.
So were you the human jump rope?
Yeah. Starting really young.
Young people, when they join the circus, as Rikki said, two larger people will basically take the arms and the legs of a smaller person, and they will throw them around so that they can do flips, but they will also use them sort of as a jump rope, and somebody else will come in and jump over them. It's really, really a fun, awe-inspiring act, and every single person gasps when they see it.
Indeed, I agree. And it's fun to be part of it, too, and I never had anything negative happen with it.
Yay.
Good. Yeah.
So when you were very little and you started off in these particular acts, were there acts that you aspired to someday do?
Yes. When I was little in circus, I wanted to be in flying trapeze. It was my whole life goal at that point. Because when I was younger in circus, we would have our finale to the show be that all the performers would walk out into the ring and sit around the edge of the ring, and then flying trapeze would happen. And then we would all stand up and style together as the finale of the show. But so all the performers would be out in the ring watching flying happen. So it was almost like we were geared to have that be something that we aspire to. But yes, I definitely aspired to be in flying. And really every aerial act that I ended up seeing, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Oh, that's what I want to do. But flying was definitely the one I wanted when I was little.
So I was going to ask you what your favorite acts to perform were when you were in the program, but it sounds like...
No, definitely not. Flying was not my favorite at all. Actually, flying was mental agony for me growing up. But luckily, I got to be in flying, so I worked my butt off. Actually, I did not make the flying team the first time I tried out here at Sailor Circus, and so I took classes at Tito Gaiona's Flying Trapeze School in Venice for a couple years, and was still in Sailor Circus, but I was just doing that on the side so that I could get better at flying, because we didn't offer the cool recreational classes that we now offer here at CAC. So then I got in flying, and then was decent at it, I would say, but it was torturous for me. I liked being in solo acts, even though there were other students around me, but one person like managing my act. So I loved aerial silks and swinging trapeze, web, and things where it was just me, largely.
And you obviously love to be in the air.
Yeah.
So do you keep in touch with any of your old Sailor Circus teammates?
Tons of them, actually. I mean, two of my best girlfriends, we were in Sailor Circus together, and then several of my friends who were my teammates are now my coworkers, so that's great. Actually, I can think of 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 of my current coworkers who are also my Sailor Circus teammates, and then almost every one of my best girlfriends were also my Sailor Circus teammates. We actually got ready for my wedding in the dressing room here because we're all circus girls. So, yeah.
That's great. So do you have a favorite performance that you've ever done? Not necessarily Sailor Circus, but anywhere else that you've performed?
So hard. So through CAC, actually, I got to be in the Naples Opera's version of Pagliacci, and that was so awesome. I don't know if I could ever say I have an exact favorite, but that one is definitely top 2. It was so cool to be performing on the silk and have this woman singing like right next to me, like, you know, at her full volume, but, you know, with the microphone too. But for I would say somewhat intimate audience, probably 100 people versus our arena can hold, you know, I think 2,500 or something like that. So that was definitely one of them, Pagliacci.
So when you were in the program and you were graduating, did you ever think that you would be back here today working? Did that ever occur to you that you would not leave?
It was my number one goal, actually. I wanted to be part of this place forever from the moment I stepped foot in here, as sick as that sounds.
Doesn't sound sick.
My goal was to run Sailor Circus, actually, when I left Sailor Circus. So I had been accepted to school for business, but my ultimate goal was to work here in some capacity. So I did think hopefully I would come back to coach. And at first, when I would drive past Circus right after graduating, I would just cry because I didn't have any affiliation with them anymore. And then found my way back here, of course. So yeah, I did hope I would get back here.
And did you go away to college?
Not away. I went to USF Sarasota.
Okay.
So I lived at home.
Okay. So and now you have a husband, and so what does your husband and your family think about you being here and performing? And and you are a professional performer, is that correct?
Yes. My family is so supportive. My mom is so happy for me that I often will say that I found my dream job in working here in general, but also here in education, because before I worked in several different schools and was a teacher on my path to coming back here. And so now I really get to have my dream job in working in both of those capacities, and then also performing, which is hugely my passion. So I would say all of my family is supportive. My husband goes to almost every performance that I do, and yeah, I would say they're supportive.
And so this is a really nice segue, because I was going to ask you about the education department. So can you explain a little bit about the education department and what you do for it?
Sure. I am part of the education department with my partner and friend and coworker, Karen Bell, who organizes a whole bunch of really awesome things that we do in schools that I get to help her organize and plan. And so we go into elementary schools in Sarasota and Manatee County and largely teach science through circus. And so we teach Newton's laws, and we use the arts to help these things come alive for students. And we do a performance that's all about cause and effect, and we help bring that into the classroom through a project that's classroom sized, and then bring it back into our arena in a performance that's arena sized. It's a lot to explain in a short period of time. We do a lot of cool stuff in school.
So can you give us an example of how the circus arts relate to the different topics that you teach, like what do you use to teach gravity, or what do you use to teach the different types of motion
So we will
or energy?
Yeah, no problem. So we do a lot of examples with friction and the act that I perform actually, which is aerial silks. And so we use gravity and friction on the act that I do in order to slide at different speeds and be suspended above the ground and things like that. And then we also use force equals mass times acceleration when talking about the teeterboard act, because different amounts of height for the platform, for the jumper to hit the teeterboard, for the flyer to fly up in the air, different heights to do different sorts of tricks, and we show them videos, and we talk about points of inertia and kinetic energy when talking about juggling, things like that.
Juggling is a great example of circus arts and how these forces relate to people and to the world.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know what a teeterboard is basically a board with a fulcrum type item in the middle, and somebody will jump from real high onto one end, and somebody else will be standing on the other end, and they will fly off and do a flip of some sort. So that is a teeterboard. So the program that Rikki was talking about is the Marvelous Miraculous Circus Science Machine, and that program has been around for a few years, and it is one of our most exciting programs. Karen Bella has been on the show recently, and we talked about the program and about how we host a few thousand children 2 days in a row who some have never been to a circus before, and they come into our arena, and it's what Rikki was talking about, a classroom size. We do a full-size, huge machine, which is sort of similar to dominoes that hit each other over, that hit a ball, that go into a cup, that pulls a string, and a light goes on. It's sort of that item, only instead of dominoes, we'll use planks of wood, and instead of ping pong balls, we'll use bowling balls, and the whole thing is connected by circus performers and performances, and it's really such an incredible, awe-inspiring, I want to call it a performance, but it's really not a performance, it's an educational demonstration, and I know that Rikki is quite involved in that particular event. So you do
One of my favorites.
yeah, I think it's all of our favorites. So so you're a coach and you do education. So I've spoken about aerial silks. Is that your main coach responsibilities?
Yes, this season, actually. I am lucky enough that I get to trade out with a few other coaches and sometimes coach a few other acts, but this season silks is my focus, and it is also my favorite, so I'm happy with that.
And so what are some of the other acts that you've coached in the past?
Aerial hammock, Spanish web. I have been part of teams coaching other things, and I'm trying to think of what they are right off the top of my head, but acrobatics I've been part of in the past, triple trap. Right now I'm helping coach unicycle.
Okay, and so as a professional performer, which you do also on the side, you have a partner that you now have a new act. Is that correct? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. My partner, Nick Slimek, and I have a new aerial silks duo act that we have created for a event that we were recently requested to do, a Greatest Showman themed event for kids beating cancer, which was a really cool event that raised a whole lot of money for kids beating cancer, and we are marketing that act everywhere we possibly can now and trying to further our success with it. We also got another gig booked recently too, actually.
Yay, good for you. So was Nick one of your teammates at Taylor Circus?
Actually, he was not one of my teammates, but he was one of my students. So he was a shining student who was like beyond the rest, and then we later grew on to be friends and worked together in the camps here, and now we're coaching silks together this season.
Oh, so you mentioned camps. You've been also very involved in the summer camp here at the Circus Arts Conservatory.
Yes. For several years, I was a camp counselor with our camp, and then have now moved on to be one of the managers. Both roles I enjoy, but yes, we host a summer camp here, and I wish I knew the exact numbers of how many kids we have, but we have usually about 100 kids a week, and the kids come and train in a specific circus act for the week, along with getting lots of other experiences in different circus acts and different things about the circus. In our 2-week camps, also including a field trip to the Ringling Circus Museum, and the students put on a show at the end of the week with costumes and lighting, and I love summer camp is one of my favorite creative